Megan Foster never expected the sentence that would change her marriage to sound so calm. "The freeloading ends today," Luke said. He did not raise his voice. He did not look angry. He said it the same way he talked about new policies at work or changes to his team, like it was reasonable, like it was logical, like it was already decided. They were standing in the kitchen of their Chicago apartment, the place Megan had turned into a home for 6 years. The smell of rosemary and garlic still hung in the air from dinner. Megan was drying a plate when Luke spoke. "I just got promoted," he added. Like that explained everything. Megan slowly placed the plate on the rack. She did not turn around right away. She knew that tone. It was the tone of a man who had practiced something in his head until it sounded fair. "You heard me?" Luke continued. "We need to separate our money. I am not going to carry someone who is not pulling their weight." Megan turned to face him. 6 years of marriage. 6 years of shared bills, shared mornings, shared dreams, reduced to one word. Freeloader. She looked at Luke. His expensive new suit. His polished shoes. The confidence that came with a higher title and a bigger paycheck. "What do you mean?" she asked quietly. "I mean, we need financial independence," Luke said. "My money should be my money. Your money should be yours. We split expenses. We keep things fair." "Fair." Megan nodded once. "Okay," she said. Luke blinked. He had been ready for a fight, for tears, for anger, for guilt. He was not ready for agreement. "Okay," he repeated. "Yes," Megan said. "Separate accounts. We split everything 50-50. That is what you want, right?" Luke smiled. Relief washed over his face. "Exactly." Megan turned back to the sink. What Luke did not know was that she had already started counting. Every dollar she had paid, every bill she had covered, every invisible thing she had carried while he climbed. 3 weeks from now, he would regret every word he just said. But right now, he thought he had won. And Megan let him believe it. Megan Foster was not the woman Luke thought she was. To him, she was just a teacher, a simple job, a steady paycheck. Nothing impressive compared to his corporate career. That was the story he told himself. It was also the story his mother loved to repeat. What Luke never bothered to look at was everything behind it. Megan taught at a private school during the day, but in the evenings and on weekends she ran her own tutoring business. Wealthy families paid her to prepare their children for college. Business owners hired her to polish their teenagers for elite schools. Some of her clients paid more for 1 hour than Luke spent on a nice dinner. The money went into the joint account. Quietly. No announcements, no applause. Megan also ran the house. She paid the bills. She tracked subscriptions. She booked doctor appointments. She handled repairs when something broke. She made sure groceries appeared in the fridge and clean clothes appeared in the closet. Luke never saw the work. He only saw the result. Dinner on the table, lights on. His suits cleaned. His social calendar organized. His mother's birthday remembered every single year. Luke thought those things just happened. They did not. They happened because Megan made them happen. While Luke built his career, Megan built the system that allowed him to do it. She absorbed stress so he could focus. She spent money so he would not have to think about it. But when people stop seeing the system, they start thinking the system is free. That was how Luke came to believe his life ran on his salary alone. That was how he came to call the woman who held everything together a freeloader. And Megan was about to let him discover how wrong he was. Luke did not come up with the idea of separating money on his own. It was planted. His mother, Patricia Foster, had been whispering into his ear for months, always gently, always disguised as concern. "You work so hard," she would say. You deserve to enjoy what you earn. You should not have to support another adult." She never raised her voice. She never accused Megan directly. She simply kept repeating the same idea until it sounded like truth. Patricia believed a wife should orbit her son, not stand beside him. In her world, men brought home money and women were supposed to be grateful. When Megan paid for things, it made Patricia uncomfortable. It did not fit the picture she wanted. At family lunches, Patricia praised Luke for his ambition. She talked about his future, his career, his success. Megan sat at the same table but felt invisible. When Luke got his promotion, Patricia was thrilled. To her, it was proof that he no longer needed to depend on anyone. "This is your moment," she told him. "Now you can finally take control of your life." Control was the word that stuck. By the time Luke walked into that kitchen and told Megan the freeloading ends today, he believed he was doing something brave. He believed he was standing up for himself. What he did not understand was that he was standing on the very person who had been holding him up all along. And when that support disappeared, everything was going to start falling. 2 days later, Megan and Luke sat side by side at the downtown bank. The building was quiet and polished. Soft lighting, clean desks, the kind of place designed to make money feel safe. A woman named Jennifer greeted them with a professional smile. She was in her 50s and had the calm voice of someone who had seen many couples arrive in moments like this. "So you would like to separate your joint account into 2 individual accounts," she said. "Yes," Luke answered immediately. Megan did not rush. She simply nodded. Jennifer typed for a moment, then looked up. "How would you like to divide the current balance?" Luke turned to Megan. He expected her to hesitate, to suggest something generous, to step back the way she always did. Half Megan said. Luke froze. Half he repeated. 50-50, Megan said evenly. "That is what fair means." There was a brief silence. Jennifer waited. Luke glanced at the screen as if the numbers might change. "Fine," he said. Half. Papers were printed. Forms were signed. Their shared account was about to become history. Jennifer explained how the money would be transferred, how new cards would arrive, how future deposits would go into their separate accounts, and household expenses, Jennifer added. How would those be handled? "We split them," Luke said. 50-50. Megan reached into her bag and pulled out her phone. "Then we should track them." "Track them?" Luke asked. "A shared spreadsheet," Megan replied. "Every grocery run, every household item, every bill. We record it and settle at the end of the month." Luke hesitated. This was not the kind of independence he had imagined. But he nodded. Megan created the file right there. Date, item, cost, who paid. She shared it with Luke. "A fresh start," she said. Luke smiled, but something in his eyes had shifted. For the first time, he was beginning to sense that what he had started was not a victory. It was a test, and he had no idea how badly he was going to fail it. The changes began quietly. Megan did not announce anything. She did not argue. She simply stopped doing what she had always done. On the first night, she cooked dinner for herself and left Luke a note that said there was pasta in the pot if he wanted some. Luke stared at the kitchen in confusion. He was used to plates appearing in front of him, used to meals being warm and ready. He served himself. He could not find the sauce. He reheated it even though it was already hot. The next morning, Megan made coffee only for herself. Luke poured instant coffee into his mug and frowned at the taste. Groceries were another shock. Megan bought what she needed: vegetables, simple meals, healthy portions. Luke went shopping on his own and came back with frozen food and random items that did not go together. By the end of the week, he had spent more on food than Megan had all month. The spreadsheet filled quickly: paper towels, soap, cleaning supplies, snacks, bottled drinks. Luke had never noticed how many small things kept a home running. Now he was paying for all of them. He also had to clean. When he tried to wash clothes, he mixed everything together. White shirts turned gray. He stared at the machine as if it had betrayed him. "I did not know you had to separate them," he said. Megan did not smile. "I have been doing it for 6 years," she replied. Luke grew tired, irritated, restless. Not because Megan was cruel, but because for the first time in his adult life he was responsible for himself, and responsibility was heavier than he ever imagined. 3 weeks after the bank visit, Luke reminded Megan that his sister was coming for dinner. Lydia and her husband were driving in from the suburbs on Sunday afternoon. They always ate at 5. They always expected a proper meal. "You know how Lydia likes things," Luke said. "Dinner needs to be ready on time." Megan did not look up from her laptop. "I am not cooking." Luke stared at her. "What do you mean you are not cooking?" "Your guests. Your money. Your responsibility," Megan said. "This is ridiculous," Luke replied. "You have always cooked," before Megan said calmly. "Now we have separate finances." Luke did not argue. He went to the store that evening for the first time in years. He was gone for hours. When he came back, he looked exhausted and confused. The bags were filled with random food: cold cuts, bread, a pie that was already dented. "How did you do this every week?" he asked. Megan simply shrugged. On Sunday at 5, Lydia walked in and immediately wrinkled her nose. "Where is the roast?" she asked. "I do not smell anything cooking." "We are doing something simple," Luke said. Lydia looked at the table. "Plastic containers, store bread, no hot food." "What is this?" she demanded. Megan was sitting in the living room reading. Luke swallowed. "Megan and I have separate finances now. She is not cooking anymore." Lydia turned to Megan. "What happened?" Luke explained everything: the promotion, the freeloading comment, the 50-50 split. When he finished, Lydia laughed. Not kindly. "You and Mom told the woman who runs your entire life that she was a burden." Luke stayed silent. "That is insane," Lydia said. "David, we are leaving." She leaned down and kissed Megan on the cheek. "You deserve better." Luke stood in the middle of the room, staring at the food he could not even prepare. For the first time, he saw how alone he had made himself. After Lydia left, Megan walked to her desk and brought back a folder. She placed it on the table between them. "Everything is in here," she said. 6 years of numbers. Luke looked at the folder but did not open it. Megan did. "My income," she began. "Teaching and tutoring. Almost $400,000. Luke frowned. "Housing." Megan continued. "Rent, utilities, internet. The portion I paid beyond half, over $48,000. His mouth opened slightly. "Food," Megan said. "Groceries, household supplies, gifts for your family, holidays, birthdays, over $30,000. She paused. "Your golf membership, too." Luke stared at the pages. "I thought those things just happened," he whispered. "They happened because I paid for them," Megan replied. She turned to the final section. 15 hours a week of cooking and cleaning, 10 hours of managing schedules and family events. If I charged even the minimum rate, it would be nearly $200,000 more. The room went silent. Luke looked smaller now. "I did not know," he said. "You did not look," Megan replied. Luke rubbed his face. "What do you want from me?" Megan closed the folder. "I want to be seen." For the first time since this began, Luke understood that the woman he called a freeloader had been carrying his life on her back, and that weight was finally crushing him instead. That night, Luke's phone rang. It was his father, Richard. Luke put it on speaker. I heard everything Richard said. Lydia told me. Luke did not speak. You do remember who planned every birthday, every holiday, every family visit, Richard continued. Silence. It was Megan, he said. She made this family work. Luke swallowed. You lived comfortably because your wife paid with her time and her money, Richard said. And you called that freeloading. I did not mean to hurt her, Luke said quietly. Intent does not erase damage, Richard replied. You took without seeing. That is worse. Richard paused. If you want to keep this marriage, you need to learn to value what you have before it is gone. The call ended. Luke sat on the couch staring at the dark screen. For the first time, he was not angry. He was ashamed. Luke did not suddenly become a better man. He became a confused one. The next week he tried to do things Megan had always done. He washed clothes and ruined half of them. He vacuumed and broke the machine. He cooked eggs and burned them into the pan. I do not know how you did all of this, he said one night. Megan answered without emotion. I had no choice. Luke began to feel the weight of his own life. Grocery lists, cleaning schedules, bills, work. Nothing felt simple anymore. He came home tired in a way he never had before. Not tired from meetings, tired from existing. One evening, he sat down at the table and stared at the spreadsheet. This is all of it, he asked. Yes, Megan said. He closed the laptop slowly. I thought I was carrying everything he said. But I was not carrying anything. Megan did not respond. Luke started writing a list, 3 pages long. Things Megan had done, things he had never noticed. He handed it to her the next morning. I was wrong, he said. I was blind. Megan looked at the pages. She did not forgive him, not yet. But for the first time, Luke was finally learning what partnership actually meant. 6 months passed. The house did not magically become perfect. But Luke was different. He made his own grocery lists now. He learned which vegetables lasted and which spoiled fast. He cooked simple meals that slowly became better. He washed clothes in separate loads. He cleaned without being asked. Megan no longer reminded him. She also no longer carried him. Luke felt the difference every day. The effort it took to keep a life running. The quiet work that had once been invisible to him. One evening, he sat down and sighed. I do not understand how you did this while also working full-time, he said. Because someone had to, Megan replied. Luke nodded. For the first time in his life, he respected the weight Megan had carried. Not as an idea, but as something he could finally feel. Patricia came over one Sunday afternoon. She did not arrive with her usual confidence. She sat across from Megan and folded her hands. I was wrong, she said. I judged you without knowing anything. Megan waited. I told Luke things I should not have said, Patricia continued. I made you sound small. Megan met her eyes. You did. Patricia swallowed. I am sorry. It was not loud. It was not dramatic. But it was real. Megan nodded once. Thank you for saying that, she replied. Luke watched quietly. For the first time, his mother was not in control of the story. Megan was. Luke stood in the kitchen one morning making coffee the right way. Megan watched him for a moment before speaking. They had not gone back to a joint account yet. They had not erased what happened, but they had rebuilt something better. I got offered another promotion, Luke said. Megan looked up. I did not say yes yet, he added. I wanted to talk to you first. That was new? I do not want success if it costs us again, Luke said. Megan stepped closer. I was never against your ambition, she said. I was against being invisible. Luke nodded. We can hire help. We can adjust schedules. We can share the load. That is what partnership means, Megan replied. Later that day, Luke asked about going back to a joint account. Only if respect stays, Megan said. It will, he answered. Some stories end with someone walking away. This one ended with two people learning how to finally see each other. If this story spoke to you, like, share and comment. Sometimes the strongest revenge is not leaving. It is refusing to be invisible ever again.